Hey everybody, it's Jason Blaha here, and once again it is time for current events in the online fitness community. And I'm just going to put some of my training footage from this week up here, and I'm going to discuss this while that's running in the background. So I woke up to this morning. One friend had sent me this, and I saw some other stuff start coming through also. But a friend of mine sent me this in my DMs, showing me links to this influencer who died of malnutrition. And I'm not going to make fun of this person. I don't think that that's appropriate. I don't think that's appropriate. It's a tragedy when people pass, even if it's self-inflicted. But the reason this one's kind of a big deal is because this person was doing the whole raw vegan thing, and they had switched over to an all raw fruit diet, and they passed as a result of malnutrition. And this is kind of a big deal because I've seen multiple other people, like on my Facebook feed, for example, who have done this. Like there's someone who they were doing some stuff with music stuff, so I had seen them in YouTube, for example, but then I've seen them now on my Facebook feed, and I said something to them and they didn't reply back this isn't a good idea. They've gone on an all watermelon diet, right? Nothing but watermelon. And I love watermelon, don't get me wrong. I've had phases where half of my calories a day were coming from watermelon. Don't have an issue with that. But here's the issue we run into with this. I'm not going to go into the morality side of veganism at all. And this is not really relevant to this topic. But nutritionally speaking, vegan diets are very, very difficult to get right. So when people say things like, oh, no, it's not that hard. Yeah, it really is. Nutritionally, vegan diets are not balanced. They're not balanced at all. We do run into issues with protein bioavailability, total protein, all these things. They're kind of a big deal. Okay, they're kind of a big deal. There's the issue of B12, which again requires supplementation. We also run into the issue of, with no animal source, EPA and DHA, which are your N3 fats. You have to eat larger amounts of ALA, which is again going to be plant source omega-3 fats that your body can then convert to those. The problem is that our body is not very efficient at converting it. It can do it, but it's a lot of work. And then the other side of that we found is when you consume large amounts of this and start converting it, it increases your body's efficiency through that pathway. And then it also starts converting your omega-6 fats into arachidonic acid at a much higher rate also, which is very inflammatory. So there's problems here. There's a lot of problems we run into. And I mean, I'm not saying these problems aren't resolvable. I want to be clear. I think they're problematic, but with a lot of supplementation and care, they can be worked around. I don't think it's a wise idea, but that's neither here nor there. But we do get into the point that people have to remember humans are cooked food omnivores. We feel a unique niche there. I've done videos in the past explaining how we got to that point. Again, that's a separate topic. Domesticated dogs are the only other animal I'm aware of that fill that niche. And that's because we domesticated them. All right. That aside, we're cooked food omnivores. So when you have people who go to this most extreme end, they already take a diet that is extreme. And I don't care that vegans come in and say, well, a normal diet is extreme, eating dead animals is extreme. Okay, we don't care. Shut up. Nobody fucking cares. All right. They're taking an extreme diet. Nutritionally, historically, it's not normal for humans. And I'm not saying a standard American diet is. That's pretty extreme. But they're taking an extreme diet, and then it's like, well, let's make it even more extreme. Let's just start removing the foods that we use to get around the problems with our diet, right? Let's just start removing all the grains and legumes and anything that has any appreciable protein. It's all the cooked foods so we get better bioavailability. Let's just remove all that and go over to raw foods, which again not really ideal for humans. We can get away with fruit. Fruit is one of the few things that humans really can tolerate in large amounts raw. It's just why they get away with this for a while. Right? I don't recommend you eat most of your vegetables raw, by the way. And just nutritionally speaking, that's not a controversial statement scientifically, by the way. I don't recommend you eat most of your vegetables raw. Okay, so they go over to raw fruit diet, just all raw vegan diets in general. All right, this is a recipe for malnutrition. It is a recipe for malnutrition every single time. And it doesn't matter when people say, but you know, you're saying eating fruits are bad, they're full of nutrients. No, I'm not saying that. I think fruits are fantastic. I think most people could stand to eat a little more fruit. I don't think that's a bad thing. But that's like saying, hey, there's a whole list of things that I need in my diet. Okay? It's 100 things I need, and I'm going to take 70 of them, and I'm going to eat them in quantities that exceed what I can even use, and not eat the other 30 things on that list, right? If we're going to talk about different nutrients, and then claim that it's good because the 70 things that I'm eating are great. Okay, hey, great, that's fine, but you're eating them in quantities you can't absorb or utilize at a certain point anyways, but who cares? This is ludicrous, right? It's ludicrous. It is a recipe for malnutrition. This should be a warning for other people. The other thing to think about, and this has been noted in the literature and the research, vegan diets are often a mask for anorexia and eating disorders. They are a way for people who are anorexic to stand up and say, hey, look, I'm doing this for moral and ethical reasons, therefore you can't judge me. And then they start losing weight quickly. They start getting underweight, they're malnourished. Then what happens? But see, it's because of my ethical diet, and this is healthy and it's good. So it's a way for them to mask their eating disorder under the guise of morality. All right? Then they become influencers and other stuff. Then they're putting this message out to other people. Because at this point, when you say, hey, I'm going to be a raw vegan, you are essentially promoting an eating disorder at that point. You really are. And I'm not even saying all veganism, and notice I didn't say that, because now you're extremely restricting an extreme diet to the point it's not even ethics anymore, because there's no ethical problem with cooking your food. We've now taken it to the most extreme version that will almost invariably eventually lead to malnutrition that is equal to anorexia, whether you're a true anorexic or not. The effect is the same. They're now promoting an eating disorder, and it's dangerous. And that's what we just saw here. All right, guys, but that's really all I have to say on that today. I hope it's been informative, and I'll talk to you guys next time.